welcome to another song title challenge. My voice is still screwed up. That's because we batched these. But this is where the question is, so, climbers, how should you write this one? Right, the lowest hanging fruit, the most obvious answer, sometimes, rarely, is the right way to go. Usually,
Mhm.
it's the most cliche. You got to dig down past that to really make something happen.
Right.
And you guys send in your song titles. These are all submitted by listeners of this podcast. Send those into uh, info at daredevilproduction.com. Info at daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular, there is no S. And put song title challenge or STC in the subject line so that it gets into the right folder. And then what I do, Brent and I invite a guest on, a killer songwriter, killer artist, and I try to find a title, and we drop it like on these. Like I've known about this title for a few minutes more than Brent and our guest will know, and we drop it on them. And when we go, we just try to cook 5 or 6 different conceptual angles on how to write that song, right? Because
Mhm.
when you really get everybody in the room going, "Oh, that's the
That's what
angle,"
we're doing, yeah.
then it's so much more fun to write. It's so much easier to write. It feels less like digging trenches
Yeah.
and more like building bridges, right? Um, Also, Brent, explain this because help me out with my voice here. But uh, this is a killer, like, a way to breathe new life into your old titles in your hook book.
Yeah, we started doing these on the show because climber years ago challenged us to write a song on the show, and, that would not be a spectator sport that anybody wants to watch. So what we decided to do was what ended up becoming Song Title Challenge. Hey, somebody send us a title and we'll just brainstorm it. And so then Johnny had the brilliant idea to start bringing guests on, which is awesome, and I'm thankful for. But we were having so much like good results. Started with a title that if it were in my hook book, I would not have been drawn to it. I would not have wanted to write it. But it was the one for the day because that's the one Johnny picked. So that's what we're working on. And so many times you end up getting a good result. Like there's something out of that. Like 10 minutes in, you're going, oh, that's pretty cool. Like I wouldn't have written that today, you know? And so I started doing them on my own and like getting results. I've gotten stuff cut that are thousands of titles back in my hook book just because I'm starting to systematically go through and challenge these. And within the past year, I mean, there's one that I wrote, or a title that a couple thousand titles ago, I was trying to make a country song and I couldn't quite figure it out. So I never wrote it, didn't write it with anybody. But then going back song title challenge, now I write a lot of Southern gospel as well. And that title called Outlive Your Life, like, oh, I know how to do that now. And so I brought into new co-writers I maybe didn't have at the time, Kenna West and Jason Cox, and we wrote Outlive Your Life. It got cut by Brian Free and Assurance. It ended up on their Grammy nominated record. And so ended up getting like on a record that was nominated for a Grammy out of that. So I'm like, not bad for a title a few thousand old. And there have been other cuts coming out of that. So I say all that to say this, like, don't be scared of going back through your old titles because there's gold in them, there are hills. Hopefully.
You know what?
So
Not only
yeah.
the merits of the exercise, but it just occurred to me something else. Like your game changed.
My game
Right? Like 8
exactly.
years later, you got more facets to your game because now
Mhm.
you're in the Southern gospel rooms, and all of a sudden, it tells me that, you know what, that song was never supposed to be a country song. It was just
No,
sitting
it
there
wasn't.
waiting for you to figure out, "Oh, I know where this is supposed to go."
Oh, exactly. I mean, I've had the same thing with like some lyrics I've written up that have sat around for years that just they weren't right for country. Like, just wasn't the right thing anymore for country. But then, like, oh, here 15 years later, let me bring that into a bluegrass room, and they're like, oh, that's great. Let's write that. Okay, great. So sometimes you hang on to these things, and the time just isn't right, and then the target. You want to aim where the target's going to be, not where the target is, kind of thing. And that's why you keep up with your stuff because as the game changes, your cast of characters changes. Maybe an artist comes along that wasn't the artist for that idea before, but now there is. Now we got something to do with it. So anyway, just all that good stuff.
There you go. So it's not a co-write in any way, shape, or form, guys. Use all of what we say, use none of what we say. It's up to you. The only demands that we do have is that we are invited to the number one party, and that
Mm.
comes with a rider. And on my rider, I demand an open bar, and on Brent's rider, he demands childcare so he can bring his
Yes,
wife. So,
that's right. That's right.
with that said, let's introduce our guest. I'm super stoked to have her on today.
Yes, today's guest is a country singer-songwriter based in Nashville, Tennessee, originally hailing from the hollers and hills of eastern Kentucky. Her brand of in-your-face music comes straight from her rowdy country roots. Her streaming, social engagement, and live performance visibility have exploded in popularity over the past year, with over 25 million global streams to date, 100 million, or let's see, a million followers across social platforms, and an upcoming tour with Tracy Bird. Yeah, he's from the country, and he
Yep.
likes it that way. So we're so glad to have her on while she still returns my text. And we're new co-writing friends. And I'm pumped about what we've written so far. Looking forward to the next stuff. Taylor Austin Dye, welcome to the climb.
Taylor,
Hey y'all, thanks for having me.
Hey,
welcome,
yes,
welcome, welcome. And may I say that list of incredible accolades for an indie artist that you just read did not freaking happen by accident, girl. You've been working, and we see that. We want you to know we see that. Like
Thank
yes.
you.
you are
It's
working, and that's what happens when you work right there.
it's a
Hmm.
job, it sure is.
Yep,
That's right.
a lot
Well,
of freaking work.
yeah. So we met at the Climb Takeover at Live Oak. It was like back in October or something. You came out there, which I'm really glad you did.
Yeah.
And so we met. You said, "Oh, I'd listened to the show before," and which was we always love hearing that. And so, of course, I went and insta stalked you immediately, and started listening to your music. Like, I really want to get in the room with Taylor. And so, I've had this circled for a while. This song title challenge. I think you'd be great at it. And so, anyway, thank you for coming out that night. That was fun. So
Yeah.
That was a great round, y'all. Killed it.
it was fun. It was
Thank you.
fun.
All right. Are you ready for the song?
I don't know, I guess so. Let's do it.
We're here anyway. That's right.
All right. So this is from one of our other favorite climbers and one that we've had some titles on before, Randy Maynor. Hey, Randy. Thank you.
Randy.
And the song title is Sinner's Heart.
Ooh, Sinner's Heart. All right.
I like the way that looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I just looking at the title, I feel like click. I want to know.
Yeah. There's some stuff you can
I
do with
want to
that.
know what that story is. Like it just the title makes me want to listen
Mhm.
to it. So I feel like there's an element of winning before you're spinning with that title for sure.
Yeah, I think
Right.
so. Thanks for sending this in, Randy. That's a nice title. But as we all know, titles are a dime a dozen. It's what you do with them that counts. So
Yep.
pop of the knuckles. Here we go. So, yeah, there we go. Listen up. Well, I'll just go ahead and bounce the ball first, just to get it going. I mean, knowing Randy, so I've written with Randy. Heck, Randy and I've gotten cuts together, and he's a songwriting pro member as well. So he writes a lot of gospel, a lot of Christian stuff, and so immediately I think of that from that angle, knowing who threw it out there, and so yeah, and of course, I mean, sin, you're automatically in the God spiritual realm there. So one of the kind of the low hanging fruit for me in that world would be like, how God changed the sinner's heart and how it's not what it used to be. So for me, that's like the most obvious low hanging fruit. God changed the sinner's heart or saved a sinner's heart, that kind of thing. Just a song about salvation and changing my ways, that kind of thing.
Could it be
Oh, it could be whatever you're about to say. It could be. That's
like
how we play this.
so maybe it's a song about perspective, right? About getting 1% better in the sense that we all have a sinner's heart because we're all
Mm,
born with sin,
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
you know? And it's like, so, in other words, like don't spend too much time lamenting your mistakes in the past.
Right.
You're gonna make some more.
Yeah.
Just get 1% better.
Yeah. Yes.
So from
Yeah.
a country artist perspective,
Mhm.
I kind of went immediately for the trying to love someone with a sinner's heart, can
Ooh,
be a
Mm.
hard thing to do.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I don't know if that is, you know, what you would first think of, but that was kind of where my brain went when I heard that. Just writing the songs that I write, like trying to
Yeah.
fix somebody, a love song, kind of,
Yeah.
if you will.
Oh,
What
yeah.
a hey,
So mhm.
what a great cheating song.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Sinner's
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
like
help it.
he's
I got a sinner's heart. Like I can't.
oh, yeah, if you're the cheater, but also from, like, if the perspective is loving someone who has that cheater's heart or that sinner's heart, is just like they're just not changing. That's who they are. That's not the bug.
Yeah.
That's the feature. That's not the exception. That's the rule. Dadgummit.
Yeah.
It could be that
Ooh,
kind of thing. If you come to
letting
that
go
realization.
of a sinner's heart.
Yeah. It's just like,
Ooh.
it's like, how about it's hard to have heaven with the sinner's heart, or that kind of thing. Like, this ain't ever going to be heaven if you got a sinner's heart. Like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be running around on me, if you're going to have anger issues or whatever, however you kind of want to define that in the song, like, it's hard to find heaven, when your angel has a sinner's heart kind of
Ooh.
thing. So that could
Mm-hmm.
be all that stuff, right? I love playing with that.
That was good right there.
The
I like
intersection
that.
of God and country. I love playing with that stuff. So I think that's a great angle. I think too, like, they're all, and it's kind of a well-worn trope in country music about, like, I'm the sinner, but my angel changed my sinner's heart. There's that
Mm-hmm.
thing too, the positive love song of, I was, just kind of I was a piece of work in progress, and here comes along this angel that is, she found a way to love and change this sinner's heart. She's making me a better man, kind of thing. So that'd be
Mhm.
a positive love angle on it.
I like that.
Yeah. So, positive love never hurt anybody, I guess. So people don't
How
normally
about
hate that when you turn it in, but
what would a listicle on that look like? I
oh,
was just thinking about a Van Halen song off of off of Fair Warning called Sinner's Swing, you know?
uh,
And it was it wasn't saying that sinner's swing, like it was like swing music, like
oh yeah.
it's doing the sinner swing. So what if it's like sinners this, sinners that, sinner's heart?
Okay.
How could you serve that up and make it work?
I was thinking of, like, listing body parts. I went to the Eagles, like lion eyes. You
Ooh,
can't hide your lion eyes, sinner's heart. That kind of
I
stuff.
like that.
Like, what else could you throw in a song that wouldn't get too much of an explicit rating thrown on it? But there's only so many body parts. But that's a thought too, and maybe they're all like positive things, like, you got the angel eyes, you got, which Jeff Healy, shout out, but you got the angel eyes, you got the whatever, all this stuff, but then, like, the twisted, but a sinner's heart, like, just can't be true,
And you can also
just
go with the angle, I guess, maybe that, like, the devil was an angel at one time. The devil didn't always have a sinner's heart.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he was an angel with the sinner's heart, kind of thing, right? The fallen
Yeah.
angel. That's cool.
wow! And hey, circling back to what you said before, Taylor, of like trying to fix somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Be careful, right? Because yes, what you're seeing is the angel in him, and the devil was an angel before he had that sinner's heart.
Hmm.
So now
Exactly.
they've fallen. You can't. Can you lift him back up to heaven with the sinner's heart? Ooh,
Exactly.
Yeah,
that just
yeah.
happened.
Johnny's pumping
Pretty
the
sure
air
my
for
about to do
those
bang,
of you not on
bang.
YouTube. Um,
It tastes so good when it touches your lips.
uh, that's funny. Sinner's heart. Oh gosh, I had something for a second, but your fist pumping in the air blew it out the back. You distracted me, Johnny, with your dance moves. Chair dancing over there.
Well, we were talking
Oh,
about like you
I got it.
can't.
I
Okay.
got it. I'm back. All right. So, speaking of something that would have worked in your hair band days, Johnny, or for like an outlaw country kind of thing, there are many ways you could do it. But it's like, you know, hey man, I just got a sinner's heart. I like to go out and have a good time, get too loud, stay up too late, drink too much, all that stuff, right? But you're just going, yep, that's me, raising my hand, that's just what I got. I got a sinner's heart, and just owning it. So in the right
Mm-hmm.
kind of crowd kind of party song, or just like an outlaw rebel kind of thing, rock thing, outlaw country kind of stuff, that could work
How
there
about
too.
springboarding off of that, dude? Like, what about Tim McGraw did it? Like, I'm a real, I might be a real bad boy, but baby, I'm a real good man.
Yeah.
I might have a sinner's heart, but I'll never let my angel go. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, something along that line. And so you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I go out and raise hell, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be associated with cheating,
Right.
or
Yeah. Yeah,
indiscretion.
just more hell raising. What about the thing of, like, she's got a body built for sin and she stole the sinner's heart, kind of thing.
Ooh,
Oh,
That
that
spicy.
spicy, yes it is.
Also, you see Taylor with like, oh,
Oh, well, hello.
strokes your chin. Go on.
So there's that. Uh, and or also like the thought of like she may look like a bad girl, but she's a good girl. That kind of the opposite of the Tim McGraw thing. You're kind of flipping the gender on there, but from the guy's point of view, like she looks like, yeah, she's got a body built for sin and all this kind of stuff. Like she looks like, oh, trouble. The best part is she doesn't have that sinner's heart. Like she's got a good
Mhm.
heart, bad
Yeah.
body, good heart. That kind of thing. Like she looks like she'd be trouble, but amazingly she ain't.
Don't
Or
judge
she
a
is.
book
She's the
by its
right kind.
cover.
She's an angel on the inside. Um.
I mean,
So
off
there's
of that, I
another way to
mean,
push
maybe
it.
you could even go like preacher's daughter type thing. Preacher's daughter
Mm.
with a sinner's heart. You know,
Oh,
Yeah.
could
hold
be
on.
interesting.
Calm down.
Because you know they're
Yes.
expect that's kind of the trope of preacher's daughters is they're
Oh
the
yeah.
wild ones.
The wild
Uh-huh.
ones. Yeah.
Always. I love that. He's a
Yeah.
preacher's daughter with a sinner's heart. Ain't that the way it
Hmm.
always goes?
And I mean, they're just, and it's fun playing on that because you're like, well, who's the sinner? It could be, yeah, she has a sinner's heart, but also she has this sinner's heart. She has my heart because I'm totally into that. So there plays kind of layers of that in many ways that we do this, you could play off that. So that's a fun one. She wants a sinner's heart. Let's see. I mean, there's, I think, a gambling, cards. If there's something with, the Queen of Hearts or the King of Hearts, whatever. I don't know if there's that. I'm not a gambler, so I don't know my cards. But wonder if there's something there. What else could you do? Sinner's Heart.
I'm just trying to go through like the list of sins, like what is
Yeah.
considered biblically a sin, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The 7
So that,
deadly sins.
yeah.
yeah, gluttony.
Oh, guilty.
Um,
I got
just going through them,
drop
trying
me
to
at the
think.
pizza buffet, and I got a sinner's heart. Um,
Keep your hands and feet away from his mouth, folks.
exactly. Back away. Especially if he's alone for a while. Yeah, you got, I mean, lust, envy,
Greed is
uh,
that one?
lying, greed. Yeah, for sure. Um, so there's all that. I mean, there's the sinner's heart. I mean, I wonder if there's a thing of like the way the world looks at certain things, but like God looks at it and goes, no, that's a sinner's heart. Like we're like, oh, well, they're just whatever, this, that, or the other. We may hold up, and it's be definitely more of a religious type song, but like we hold these things up as like, oh, this is awesome. They're living their best life, and like God's like, sinner's heart. There's that. There's stuff in the Bible too about like the heart is deceitful. Like you can't just go with your feelings.
Mm.
That like you need to think things through and not just go, okay, how many marriages have broken up because, oh, we're in love, we'll be in love forever. I don't love you anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Don't follow your sinner's heart.
Like, yeah, it's like turned out, man, I got a sinner's heart. Like I can't, with that Johnny Cash, I walk the line. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is what, because I know I got a sinner's heart, so I got to keep that sucker in check. That might be an interesting way of saying, yeah, I don't just go with whatever my feelings are, because really, if I just went with feelings a lot of time, I'd spend a lot of tomorrow apologizing. Because I'd say things I shouldn't say to people. I'd do things I shouldn't do. All that if I just go off feelings, but
Well, and then
realizing like I can't trust that. Mm-hmm.
from there, maybe it's like you are a sinner and you're trying to get right, whether it's like
Mm-hmm.
drugs, alcohol, cheating, whatever. But like you're really trying to be a better person and you're trying hard, but you're still like fall short. And
Yeah.
but it could be like God knows this sinner's heart, like kind of
Oh,
that I mean well type
I'm
of thing.
trying. I like that. Yeah,
I like
yeah, he
that.
knows my heart. Yeah, like it's screwed up, but I'm trying.
Yeah,
Um, I like that too because it's kind of owning it, because that's one thing, especially when you get into stuff like this in country. Like people don't want to come across as like holier than thou. People don't want and generally don't want their artists to be like, I've got it all figured out, and I'm just,
right.
I'm perfect. So like they don't like the preaching at thing, but if you can come at it from, I got feet of clay, man. God knows the sinner's heart. I'm trying. I'm screw up, so I'm not better than the listener. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. Much more relatable because It's
How
much more
about on
relatable.
that note, it's like, the question we all ask internally is like, will God or does God know my
Mhm.
sinner's heart?
Right.
Yeah.
Or am I going to hell for this? Like,
Yeah.
like I hope God knows the sinner's heart. God loves the sinner's heart. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it could be that could go real deep on that. And
Mhm.
then the other thing I was thinking of was the reverse of what you said about, from like the Christian angle, but how, if we talk about, every church has got some of the front row Baptists that are like, looking down their nose at everybody and
Legalistic,
trying to be
judgmental, yeah.
and they're all going to be like, sinner's heart. Blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Mhm.
you don't necessarily have to, just because she said you got a sinner's heart, don't mean that you do, maybe something like that. Like,
Yeah.
give it a perspective angle on that or something.
Yeah, it's because you don't, read the right version. You're not rocking the King James? I guess you
Yeah.
just got a sinner's heart. I don't think that's how that
Yeah.
works. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the Pharisees, I mean, they thought Jesus had a sinner's heart. A lot of them thought he was blasphemous, and how many times did people try to stone him for blasphemy, for claiming to be God? It's like, well, guess what? you know, thinking he had a sinner's heart when no. So there's
Well,
that kind of thing too.
and how about like, what if the sinner's heart is
A
a badge
bar.
of honor
Oh.
in the way that we talk to like indie artists, like if you're not
Mm,
making a mark and you don't have haters, you're not doing it right. Let's
yeah.
remember when Johnny Cash first came out, they said that wasn't country.
Yeah.
And now he's the gold standard for country that everybody
Mm,
wishes that they could get to that they can't. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So it's like if they're saying you got to win a sinner's heart, maybe you're doing something right, but if you're coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's cool. You got to have some rebel, right?
Yeah,
Um,
a little sinner's heart
little
ain't a
rebel
bad
in your art,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
There
cool.
it is, a little sinner's heart, a little rebel in your heart. I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
that's cool. Um, and like talk about the Pharisees and stuff too. It could be the you know, calling out hypocrites. Oh, you got your
Mhm.
pretty, your perfect hair, your clean hands, your and a sinner's heart. Because you're judging people, because you're talking about
Yeah,
people behind their back. The Harper Valley PTA. Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
I heard
yeah.
Classic.
that the other day and I was like, that's good. That's a jam. But that kind of thing, like, oh, your perfect little manicured fingernails and your whatever, everything's, but you got a wicked sinner's heart
I
because
feel like we
that
need
kind of
this
thing.
freaking song from that angle today, like right here, right now.
Yeah.
Like, the world needs to hear that song right
Yeah.
there, right now. Like
Like
we
some
yeah,
humility, please. You know?
yeah, cut it out. The whole virtue argument thing that is it's out of control.
Yeah.
It's like, stop it. You're
Yes.
just as full of crap as everybody else. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Well, and even from that, like everybody has a sinner's heart. I mean,
Yeah. Join the
because
club.
like the saying, we all fall short of the glory of God. Like
Yeah.
it could be just totally. It doesn't matter who you are, how perfect you think you are. Like everybody has a sinner's heart
Mhm. Heck
at the end
yeah.
of
see,
the day.
that might be the best one so far. Like from that,
Mhm.
like where you could use this maybe as a, a social
Commentary.
commentary
Yeah.
kind of song, where you're like, well, they're saying this and they're saying that and they're saying this over here, and it gets so confusing. But you know what? Everybody's got a sinner's heart, and
Mhm.
we all end up in the same place, in a box, in a ground, like
Yeah.
Hmm.
it's like, so you're not any different. Just focus on you, kind of a thing. I like that a lot.
Yeah, there's that saying, the ground is level at the foot of the cross. Like everybody
Ooh,
is just as much in need and has just as much of a sinner's heart as anybody else. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, what nationality you are, what race, none of that matters.
yeah.
Ground's level. We're all just as lost as Easter eggs, man. So there's that thing of just, kind of throwing your arm around everybody and be like, it's not a hating on anybody's song. This is like, welcome to the club. Like,
Hmm.
you're more in
And
danger
that
if you think you don't have a
could that be
sinner's
used?
heart.
I know we're getting heavy here, but I mean, could that be used too to sort of de-escalate or dilute the oppressed versus oppressor freaking angle that is just all the commentary right now on everything. It's like, oppressed is oppressor. Like, you're the victim. They're the oppressor. These are people. They all got sinners' hearts. Like we all do. So stop it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me think of like, it's why, and this is more of a Tom McDonald thing, right? Like why you don't want government to control everything and why you also don't need anarchy. Because we got sinners' hearts. If they're in charge of everything, guess what? They got sinners' hearts too. Maybe I don't want to give someone else complete power over my life, except for my wife. I love you, honey. Or have no rules and no laws whatsoever. Same reason. People got sinners' hearts. And so that's why you need kind of that balance of freedom and guardrails and stuff, which could be interesting. But also, it's like, okay, you think your stuff don't stink, but we all got it. We all got our stuff. So maybe have some grace for people too. But for me, it also showed me like, be careful who you idolize. Don't put your faith in people, because guess what? They're just as messed up as you are. They may be but they're all somewhere along the journey, right? And so when you think they're going to be perfect or whatever, I mean, like when I got married, you get married thinking, oh, this person's wonderful, the best thing ever. And then she starts figuring out your sinner's heart. You start figuring out hers. They start rubbing, like bumping up against each other because you're in that pressure cooker of a marriage or relationship. And you start figuring out, wow, we're just kind of jacked up people, aren't we? Didn't think about that before because I had a nice buffer zone between me and other people. I wasn't good. I was just comfortable. And you start figuring it out. It's like, okay, what are you going to do with that sinner's heart? Like with, this person you're in love with, you got to make peace with the fact that they really aren't perfect. And they're going to have to make peace with the fact that you aren't perfect. And maybe you just need to bring God your sinners' hearts, right? Maybe that's the thing. Like, that's what's going to make it work out.
I love that.
Find
Bring
that grace
God
and that
your sinners'
forgiveness,
hearts.
So
I love that. No, dude, that's good, man. That's really good. It could be, if there's a way to spin it. I joked about this with Janelle when we first started dating, but it's like when you first start dating somebody, the first 90 days, all you meet is the representative, of the person.
Right.
So it's like, it takes this amount of time to not get to know their sinner's heart, because that's like, could be a euphemism for actually knowing the real person. This is where you find out the imperfections. This is where they maybe sinner's heart. Could that be a euphemism for vulnerability? Like that's where I want to get to. Like maybe you're meeting a girl at the bar for the first time, and it's like, oh, I want to get to know you, but I want to get to know your sinner's heart. And
it just sounds like a dirty pickup
sex.
line.
Sounds like a dirty pickup line, but you're not, right? You like send her for a loop because you set it up to sound like a dirty pickup line. She takes it that way. You're like, no. Like you ambush her, right? She's like, what no. Like, I want to know your imperfections. Like, I want to know what's in your sinner's heart, right? Like, and then she's like, then you're saying like, I really want to get to know you. All of a sudden it's like, oh, and then you take her home,
Oh, mercy. But there's that thing about that. Yes. Showing that vulnerability. I mean, and you gotta offer that up too, like in a relationship or whether to God or whatever, you gotta like, here you go. Here's the sinner's heart. This is it. Cause they're going to find out eventually anyway. If it's God, he already knows. If it's your, significant other, it's going to come out. You can't hide it. Maybe that's the thing. Like you can't hide your lying eyes, but you can't hide your sinner's heart for forever. What's in is going to come out eventually.
Yeah.
You are who you are.
I like that.
And that's kind of like a who are you when nobody's looking, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Blake Shelton?
Blake Shelton and Joe Nichols cut it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But way heavier. Seems like,
yeah. But it's kind of like, I want to know your sinner's heart, right? Like, let's figure out what you're doing when you think nobody's looking. And that's how because if everybody's got a sinner's heart, you're trying to find out, like,
what's your particular flavor?
Yeah. What kind is that going to work?
Yeah. It's Taco Bell. Our sinner's hearts are Taco Bell. It's all the same bad ingredients. We just put them in different combos. Like, are you heavier on the beans or are you heavier on the beef or chicken? We all same stuff. Just what's your,
That's a freaking truth. It's like, what kind of combo platter are you?
It's the same. Yeah, it's all the same kill you stuff, but
Well, we got some good looks at that, I think, man.
Yeah, this is fun. Randy, thank you for sending that in.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. Taylor Austin Dye, where can everybody find you?
Yes.
I try to keep it simple. It's Taylor Austin Dye everywhere.
Mhm.
And my website's TaylorAustinDye.com. Die with a
Miss-
Y, not with an I.
That's
There
right.
you go.
There is no I in die. Live forever.
That's
So-
right.
I
and
like that.
we'll put links to everything in the show notes so people can just click through and find you and jam out to your music like I've been doing. And Poison in the Well is the current release. So
I saw that on
Yes.
New Music Friday, by the way. Sick. Like, that didn't suck.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's good for you, man. You're killing it.
Thank
I
you.
love seeing it, man. Good for you.
Well, I appreciate
Mm.
y'all having me on. Like Brent said, I listened to the show a long time ago when I first moved to town, so it was kind of full circle coming on here. I love it.
Heck yeah, we'll take full credit. Why
right.
not?
See what happens when you listen to Climb? You end up with a resume like Taylor Austin Dye. There you go. All right, guys, that takes us to the end of another killer song title challenge and possibly the end of my voice today. We'll put everything to find Taylor in the show notes. This podcast exists because we want you to win, so keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.